police slapped the road kid until he found out the truth, and he did not halt crying. Carlos Carranza was a police captain exceptionally committed to the institution to which he continuously devoted devotion and regard. He was a man of encounter, which is why he was in charge of the police constraint in his hometown. In that nation where all the individuals were bigoted due to nourishment deficiency, Carlos Carranza was devoted to taking care of the well-being and welfare of the individuals. With his other colleagues at the institution. On a few events, he would go around the city with his accomplice on obligation, where they would continuously go to bars to anticipate individuals from getting into inconvenience, or he would too mediate it so there would be no mishandle of family individuals. It would not raise. Specialist Carranza was beautified on a few events due to his great treatment towards individuals. He never had any complaints from the town's individuals and much less from his colleagues. Carlos was 29, a long time ancient, and continuously had a peaceful life. He lived with his guardians and did not indeed need to have a family since he thought they might be assaulted since he was a constable. Carlos' guardians were now not working, and he was the breadwinner. He paid the power, water, and phone bills and did the advertise as well. At the same time, his mother was the lady who continuously kept the house clean, other than ruining them with dishes of nourishment that they needed, whereas his father was as it were in charge of being within the room observing diverse sports programs to clear his head since he continuously said that he had worked sufficient. Captain Carranza was satisfied. He had a relationship of nearly 4 a long time with a superb youthful lady named Esperanza. She needed her boyfriend to require the next step, to inquire for her hand, but tragically, in Carlos' plans, no place did it say that he needed to induce hitched, for reasons as of now said within the story. Indeed, in spite of the fact that he did not need to urge hitched, Carlos was exceptionally much in adore with Esperanza. Another day Captain Carranza was on obligation and gotten a call from a panicked woman who worked in a well-known supermarket within the city. She said to him, "Mr. Constable, if it's not too much trouble, offer assistance me. Somebody is tossing stones at the window of my store." Captain Carranza quickly went to the put of the realities, beside his accomplice of 1,000 fights, a Rottweiler pooch named Zeus, who was prepared and had him since he was exceptionally youthful. When Captain Carranza arrived at the put with Zeus, he may not capture him, so that day, he said that he would have him as his essential target to capture him and did not waver to require the articulations of the influenced individual so that one day he seemed capture him. Days passed, and calls of this sort proceeded with more prominent recurrence, where they said that individuals were being assaulted with stones in their businesses. Captain Carranza was in question and did not know on the off chance that it was the same individual who had already stoned the general store until each individual influence told him the same characteristic of the individual. He concluded that they were the same. Carlos came to realize that this individual did not take anything from the foundations, and the as it were thing he did was to break the windows and take off, until one day, Captain Carranza was not on obligation and welcomed his sweetheart to undertake a delightful sandwich at the put where they sold quick nourishment. They were both talking around life, she almost her college and he around his work. They had an awesome couples conversation, and Carlos told her approximately the unusual case of the youthful glassbreaker, and Esperanza said, "Cherish, who is that youthful man? Have you caught him?" However, and at that minute a boisterous blast was listened following to the back of the captain's table where he was eating, and quickly a short time later the window of the taking after table would too drop to pieces, it would smash. Esperanza, exceptionally frightened, cut her lip. The captain, very irate to see his sweetheart with that cut, promptly went out to that put and saw who the reprobate was. Captain Carranza was in civilian dress, so he chosen to take after the small reprobate. The youthful reprobate strolled a few lanes, and when he halted to rest, Carlos come to out to him where would touch him on the bear. The youthful man would turn around in shock, and promptly the captain would slap him, which cleared out the youthful man crying and bowing for a long time. Quickly, Carranza called his colleagues so that they seemed take absent this young delinquent who was causing harm within the city. Indifferentiate, the youthful man looked at the captain with great outrage and seethed, not for having captured him but for the slap he gave him that left him all ruddy within the confront. After that, Captain Carranza would take his sweetheart to see her lip, as the cut she had in her mouth was very profound. That day would be somber, as the captain was having an extraordinary time with his sweetheart, and presently he would spend one more minute within the hospital. Going with her the following day, Captain Carranza went to the police station and started to ask almost that youthful man, telling him, "Why are you doing this? Why the seethe against other people's trade? The youthful man did not react and as it were looked at the floor, so the captain took him to a specific room to inquire him more questions, saying, "What is your title? How ancient are you? Where are your guardians?" The youthful man would reply, "My title is Ernesto, I am 15, a long time ancient, and I live alone. Anything else?" So the captain exceptionally sharply snatched him by the collar and would say, "Let me tell you, youthful man, simply are in big trouble, so you live alone? Let me know where you live, since in the event that you do not, I will make beyond any doubt you do not get out of here, you get it me?" Ernesto, without looking up, would tell him once more, "I live alone, get it?" The captain would reply for the final time, "Where are your guardians?" The captain thought Ernesto was lying. In the meantime, Ernesto, having so much weight, would have a tear drop down his cheek and would reply the captain between tears, "I never knew my father, he deserted me when I was born, and my mother's title is Rosa, she is within the cemetery in push 5 column C." The captain, upon hearing this, took out his hanky and gave it to Ernesto to dry his tears and felt kindness for him, so giving him a small pat on the back and with a knot in his throat, he said to Ernesto, I'm too bad, my companion, for what happened to your guardians." "Let me be your companion," said the captain. Ernesto felt calmer and told the captain everything that happened with his mother, that they frequently had nothing to eat, that they persevered mortifications, and for not paying insurance, his mother was cleared out to kick the bucket. The state did not offer assistance, and I had to require her to bed, or her quality was going little by small, and I may not do anything. He moreover said that he vented all his seethe and outrage by breaking glass in places where there were individuals who had to eat, getting a charge out of their bliss, whereas he had to live alone and without his mother. He had much pent-up seethe. The captain, upon hearing Ernesto's story, wiped his tears and embraced him, and said, "I'm too bad for judging you. I want you to guarantee me merely will never do what you were doing once more, and presently I need you to be portion of my family, to be your family. Ernesto, I need to deliver you my support." Ernesto looked at him gently and cheerfully. Captain Carranza took him domestic to live with his guardians, who would give him with food and shield, and after a whereas, he would put him to study at the cadet school so that he would be an incredible constable just like the individual who had fair given him his bolster. What would you have got done in the event that you were in Captain Carranza's shoes? Let us know within the comments.